Or inadvertent.
Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, February 7th, 2013. This is the Athens City Planning Commission meeting for the day. And we have established quorum, barely. And let's see, as far as the disposition of minutes, was there a motion to table?
No, we can do the minutes.
Okay,
Yeah, we
do the
have the
minutes.
minutes in front of us from
Okay.
January 17th, it looks like.
Are there any questions that anybody has about the disposition of the minutes here?
I just have one comment. On page 1, the last sentence at the bottom, it says 75%. That was an approximate, just
Approximately 75?
approximately 75%.
Of R1, right?
Yes.
It should be R1.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank
But
you.
it looked correct when I read it, because I was there.
So R1 lots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
approximately.
So I move anything else? Okay, I would move we accept the minutes with those amendments.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to cases, there are none today. Communications in terms of discussion of the R2 and R3 zoning code. Since two of the members are missing today, I think that we wanted to go ahead and table those discussions for the next meeting.
Okay, I can move to table it.
Second?
Okay.
With discussion, though, and one thing I do want to mention is that we did receive a packet from the planner, I believe, on some definitions. Is that the case?
Yeah, I tried to. There's a few things in that packet, and it's. I'm throwing a lot at the three of you, and I apologize. So it's certainly not necessarily something that we need to discuss today. But I tried to find some basic definitions of child and renter, which was requested from the last meeting. Our zoning code does say in the preamble, as it's written today, or in 231001 F, it says definitions for specific words not defined herein. An American English Dictionary or the approved applicable building code will be used as guidance. And so the definition of child and renter that I found were both from Merriam-Webster's most recent American Collegiate Dictionary, which I assume would suffice. The word renter specifically, when I looked through a lot of different definitions of it, it doesn't. A renter can be interpreted as the person who rents out something or the person who pays rent for something. So when you use the word renter, that could actually, it's kind of nebulous. It's probably better if we think about, unless we're going to put in a definition, landlord or tenant, leasee and leaseor, words like that might actually help clarify if we wanted to clarify that a little bit better. So that's something maybe to discuss at a later meeting. Additionally, on that first document, I started just kind of comparing a few other communities, and I wanted to look at Kent and Oxford specifically, since those are also college towns who deal with a lot of the same issues we do in Ohio. Oxford's, unfortunately, I was not able to, their website had some problems reading their code, but I skimmed through Kent's, and there's a series of definitions that follow, and most of these, I believe, are things that we don't include, and I thought maybe it would just be useful to see that there's other things we could be adding, or there's maybe things that we're missing from our current code that could be situations that our code office might have to address at some point. Maybe we need to find where they fit. Kent specifically, they do have a definition for bar, tavern, and saloon, which we're kind of in this situation where we have this eating and drinking establishment phrase, but we don't actually describe or define what that means. Also, when we talked about family, you don't have to do too much research of family to realize, if you're looking for zoning definitions and municipal code definitions for family, that you quickly get into issues of fair housing with the way that a lot of communities have previously defined family, and that there have been some issues with that. There's two packets towards the back that I included. One is a white paper that discusses fair housing issues in land use and zoning, and it's specifically about the definitions of family and occupancy standards. Then there's also just some things directly from the U.S. Department of Justice website, talking about fair housing, group homes, and local land use. I did find that by reviewing that, they do have a Q&A on there that was pretty useful just to clarify some of those and how fair housing relates to local zoning. So I would recommend that the Planning Commission review that. And I also included on the second little packet there, I think it's 3 pages, it's chapter 1122 of the City of Kent, Ohio zoning code, which is relating to rooming and boarding homes. But what I liked about it was that if you look at 1122.03 in there, it has the definition of a household, and then it gets into how to determine household status if there's a question, which is some of the things we talked about. You look at the fair housing and it talks about based on current standards, if we're defining a family or a household using relationship by blood or marriage, that's generally not contemporary with current legal standards, at least in my skimming of it. So I thought Kent did a pretty good job of clarifying some of those issues that might help us in the future if we wanted to look into that.
Is the, as far as the definition of family, is that something that we might want to consult with the city attorney about, as far as the language used?
It could be, yeah, it might be. I'm not really sure though. I don't know enough about it myself. I think probably the better way to do it would be for the Planning Commission, as well as John and I, maybe just try to read up a little bit more on it first and then see what we think about it.
And then send it to the law director.
Yeah, that might be a better route.
Find out how much case law is there, I guess. Really.
Right.
It sounds like there's a bundle of it in one sense. In terms of the definition of a household, I see this was passed in 2011, though. So when you say it's the Kent one,
Yeah.
112203,
Right.
so it sounds like they've had to modify it themselves lately. And you just, I think you just said it sounded archaic. So, I'm not, or rather, it wasn't a contemporary definition.
I'm sorry, to clarify on that, Mayor, I was referring to our definition of
our
family,
definition.
which talks about
Okay.
one or more people related by blood, marriage, or adoption, I believe. And that seems as if that definition changed. We talked about how, within the city, we do have a process to recognize domestic partnerships, I believe.
Yeah, I see. This one
That
says
doesn't fall
functionally
under that
equivalent.
definition, right. So Kent gets into what they call functionally equivalent to the traditional, that definition of a household or a family. And so that might be a way to cover that.
Okay.
And you could also see, if you look through that determination in that next section, 1122.04, they also get into how to, if there's a question as to whether people living together.
You're watching the Government Channel.
Total Info Local Weather.
Referenced a section of the R1 that doesn't exist anymore. So just so you guys have that, that should be this one here. And essentially, if you go back 1, 2, 3 pages, 4 on, I starts talking about R1. The particular section I was referring to is 230401C3, which is referenced in our R2 zone, which is 230402. Under condition permitted uses, talks about general any condition of permitted use as regulated by R1 except for 230401C3, which I'd say if we were looking at our other code, we wouldn't find it. So, and that's the only reason why I put that in there. And the back page is pieces I pulled off of City of Ashtabula code. Again, I was looking at rooming house definitions, rooming units, and rentals. I did not go towards the children part, as well as I have a definition of tenant on the last page, too. I spent a lot of time searching the rentals and renters, and I realized I should probably be using the word tenant to actually get a better definition word search. So I spent a long time going down a dead end. But I just want to bring that up, and that's also part of the submission to the commission at this point. So we've been given a lot of homework, it sounds like.
Okay, great.
Good thing we tabled it.
Good thing we tabled it. Let's see, so,
I think we did vote. Did we vote on that?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Let's see, report from the city planner.
Just a couple things that I have right now. A few updates, I suppose. I am working with our Arts, Parks, and Recreation Director, Rich Campitelli, to assemble a grant application to acquire a piece of real estate on the south side of Athens. We've been calling the Dowler Estate. It's a 15-acre parcel of undeveloped real estate, which is adjacent to what we've called the Gawande Preserve, which was a 5-acre parcel of land donated to the city a few years ago by the Gawande family, and is in close proximity to Camp Rotan, which is a Rotary Club-owned piece of real estate that is used for Boy Scout and Girl Scout camps and things of that nature. What we're trying to do is assemble a few pieces of real estate to create a smaller scale green space, deed restricted green space on the south side with network of trails, etc. So the Dowler family, we've been in communication with them for some time now about donating and purchasing some of that land from them. And Rich and I are working on an application right now to make that happen through a grant.
When's the deadline again?
I believe March 1st.
Okay.
March 15th.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been out of the office a few days this week due to illness, so I'm playing a lot of catch up right now. And that was something I was planning to do earlier this week, was work on that, and I haven't had a chance yet. Another grant application that I'm working on with the Municipal Arts Commission is with respect to a program called Rural Institute for Community Design, I believe, RICD or something like that. They offer like a workshop grant program for small cities and rural areas around the U.S. On a yearly basis, where they bring in experts in a specific field, and we put on a forum with local decision makers and policy makers and movers and shakers and electeds and planning commissioners, where you touch on a specific issue within your community that this organization might be able to help you clarify the issue and find some solutions to using design and standards and things like that. What the Municipal Arts Commission would like to do is submit an application for this grant that focuses on strategies with which we can get art into our community and where we should be placing art, whether it be public art or sculptures or what kind of art, and how how we can bring art into the everyday lives of Athens residents and visitors. That's a grant program. I believe that deadline is also in either April 1st or the middle of March. I'm working with them on that program.
Okay.
It's a pretty neat program if we can get it awarded. So, that's all I have.
And I'm aware you're doing homework for the sewer connection, county sewer connection. We're still in negotiation with that.
Yeah, we are still working on that.
I think
Town hall meeting actually on February 12th, next Tuesday.
See
Please
how
come.
that goes. In terms, I think we're going to postpone the next meeting with Jennifer Fromer and the county because we need to do some more homework. I think that was the
Looked like it, yeah. We're going to move
consensus at this
to
point.
the middle, sometime in March, I believe.
Yeah.
John?
All I have to report is Tuesday night, same time, town hall meeting's going on. The BZA meeting will be going on right here. Two cases on the agenda, actually only one case and then one amendment. The first one is 363 Richland Avenue. Summit Coates Run, they have a variance request for a reduction in size of 198 parking spaces from 9 foot in width to 8 foot 6 inches in width, and this will give them the required 856 parking spaces they need without having to build anything new.
How many total?
I think it's 198 spaces they'll have to change from
198.
9 foot in width to, basically it's the whole lot to be to the farthest west on the property. They're just changing that and relaying it out.
Price of hubris.
So they have to reduce it by a quarter of them have to be non-conforming. About 800 at 190 and about
Close
800.
to, yeah,
Okay.
close to. And then the amendment is 46 North Lancaster, that they have a curb cut at the rear of the property that is 80 foot wide off of Carpenter Street. And I noticed after the fact that in R1s, R2s, and R3s, the maximum curb cut width is 20 feet. But this is a B1, but it has to abide by R1, R2, or R3 standards based on the area that it abuts according to our code for residential use in a B1. So I requested that they go back this meeting for an amendment to an 80-foot curb cut when only 20 foot is allowed.
This
This is what this is the laundry,
Correct. 46 North Lancaster. Yes, the old laundry.
And this is not another variance or amendment to the variance?
This will be a variance, be an amendment to the one that we did before. So basically, I failed to include it in on the last request of, they only had before a variance request for rear yard setback that they received, and I should have had on their rear yard setback and this curb cut. And so the curb cut width was never discussed, and since they have not made application or anything yet, I made an amendment to it, and we'll discuss it at this meeting.
If they don't get the variance, what happens?
I would assume that they'd just be the same as the other one would have been denied. So if they don't get it, it's
Okay, so if this one falls, that one falls?
correct.
Okay. And in terms of the non-conforming parking, if that falls, the alternative is to build another parking lot, I'm told. Coates, Summers on Coates
Oh,
Road.
you jump back to that one.
Yeah, I jump back to that. Well,
Yes.
I'm trying to think of the default, the fallback positions for it.
Yes, if that one doesn't pass with the reduced parking spaces, and then, yes, they are falling back to having to build that other lot that they wanted to do.
Okay,
So
just wondered. Anything else?
that is all I have.
Okay.
the opportunity for citizens to speak. No one today. Announcements and other business. The next meeting is for the City Planning Commission will be February 21st at noon here in the City Hall, 3rd floor. Any other announcements that anyone wants to make?
Just a town hall meeting next Tuesday, 6:30.
And that's the community center. Let's see. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved. You can also say, having completed all the business, we stand adjourned.
Okay.
That works too. We're adjourned.